Welcome back to the Wealth Principles. Today is Wealth Principle 29. We've been going through this journey of wealth principles for the last 29 weeks. We discuss one topic each week. Today's topic is own 100% of your own results. And what that principle means is, how do you get to what you're looking to create? It can't be by looking at everybody else and blaming everybody else. You must look at yourself and say, I've accomplished something, or I've created a problem for myself. It's me, it's me, it's me. It's nobody else's fault. Where you're at in life is 100% your fault. Whether it's good or whether it's bad, your success, your results are 100% yours. There's nobody else out there to blame. Hands to the camera if you agree that this is truth. There is some reality to this. Now, hands to the camera if it is fun to blame other people. It could be a very enjoyable pastime, but it isn't productive. It isn't productive. And if you want to be extremely successful, you must think like a leader. Leaders own their results. They own the results for the company. They own the results for their troops. They own the results for their mission or their drive or their purpose. So if you look at what you've accomplished in life and you say, up to this point, what is it that I have done that has worked? And what is it that I have done that hasn't worked? And there's a great book that we're going to talk about. Mike, if you have the book, do you have the book of the week next to you? Extreme Ownership. Let's bring Mike Shine on for the book of the week. The keeper of the books, the great Mike Shine. You're up.
Wow, early, but I'm psyched. So this is an amazing book, and Walter did a really nice post this morning on Facebook about the key points of this book. So I would check out the Facebook because I can't do it justice. It's really about taking ownership of everything, and that's empowering because so Jocko was a Navy SEAL, and he was involved in a firefight, which ended up being friendly firefight, where one of the members of the Army was killed. And you know, there's plenty of blame to go around, a big blame pie, but he ended up realizing that the real ownership was all about him. He was the leader, and it was all his responsibility. And because of that, he learned that that's empowering, because if you take the responsibility, you have all the power. If you're a victim, you give all the power to somebody else. I just love this book. I mean, stories are crazy. It's a little violent, obviously, but it's just a great book, and it makes you realize that not just in war, but everywhere, your best strategy is to take responsibility, and that gives you the power. So Extreme Ownership, highly recommend it. Jocko Willink, he's the man. See him on YouTube. He's awesome. Thank you.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. Book of the week. So if you haven't read it, we have 52 books that go with our 52 wealth principles. This is the book for Wealth Principle 29. Ownership starts with you. It's empowering. It gives you the ability to start and see the world for what it really is. Yes, there are results, there are things that are happening around you, but there are also things that you actually can control. If you've read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, hands to the camera if you've read this book, Stephen Covey. Awesome, excellent. So I say maybe half the community. Stephen Covey talks about your circle, your sphere of influence, and inside that sphere are things you can control. And outside of that sphere is everything else. Let's think the president, right? If the president decides that something's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do. It's not inside your sphere. But what is inside your sphere is how you feel about it, how you decide you're going to take some action based on what's happened. Hands to the camera, if the tax law changes, we will adjust. Hands to the camera if you recognize that. As investors, as business owners, if the tax law changes, we'll just do something different. Excellent. That's within our sphere. We can't control the tax law. We can't control COVID, but we can control how we respond to it. That's within your circle. So there's a powerful energy that comes to a human being who starts taking ownership. When you start looking at the situation you have and say, wow, this is all mine. Whether it was my thoughts, it was my actions, it was my desires. Hands to the camera if you recognize that your desires are what you move towards. You move towards the things that you want. So if you're moving in a direction you don't want to be moving in, you might want to change what you're thinking about. It's a fun one. So there are 7 key principles to extreme ownership. Hence, camera, if you'd like to see what those are, if you're interested in doing this with us today. Excellent. We're going to go through this relatively quickly because at 11 o'clock, I have a championship and a game I'm playing, and I want to make sure that I show up because I committed to my team, and I'm going to own 100% of my results, whether I win or I win, because we always win. Whether you learn or you lose or you take something away from you, you'll always take some benefit. Principle 1, or the first of these, is check your ego. Check your ego. And if you've been a part of this community for a long time, you've heard Dr. Terry Wager talk about the ego as the eliminator of great opportunities. If you're on the bullet train of action, you've learned to work with your ego. You don't want to get rid of it entirely, but you want to put it into check. So write this down, put my ego into check, or check my ego. And what that means, because you need it, by the way, and I want you to appreciate your ego. Your ego is how you set goals. Your ego is how you decide to go do something great. If you've ever said, I'm going to go do something bigger than everybody around you, that was ego, right? Hands to if you recognize that. So it can be good. It's a healthy thing. It inspires you to be great. It inspires you to be better. It inspires you to decide to be something. So ego is a great space, except for when you're communicating with other people. When you're communicating with other people, put your ego in check. It's not a part of the conversation. You just be yourself and communicate clearly what your intentions are. 2, cover and move. Cover and move. What this means is you cover ground. Take something, establish, and move on. If you've not done well in something, learn from it. If you've done well in something, don't sit there and revel in how great you did. Celebrate and move on. Keep taking ground. Extreme ownership is all about doing something that you want to do the right way. If you fail the first time, learn from it, take more ground. Take more ground. The people who stay still in life, well, they don't get to see shores. They don't get to see beaches. They don't get to see high amounts of money or great experiences with their families. Don't stay still. Take ground and move. Take cover and move. The simpler, the sexier. This is 3. The simpler, the sexier. And it's at every level of your business, whether you're just starting, whether you've got a couple of people working for you, or whether you have hundreds of people who are involved in your business, the simpler you keep it, the faster you move, the better your business will be, especially with your life and your emotions, with your health and your diet. This goes across everything. The simpler it is, the sexier it is. I want you to write that down. And I would say every time you make a decision about what you're going to do next or how you're going to do something, run that mantra. Simple is sexy. Hence the camera, if you commit to be simpler, live a simpler life. Excellent. Awesome. You can do 10 things, or you could do one thing that handles all 10 things. And that's usually conversation with somebody else. Have you noticed that? It's who, not how. Yeah. So you have to read 10 books, or you can go find the person who's read the 10 books, or find a person who's read each one of those books. 4, set strict priorities and ruthlessly execute. 100% ownership on execution. Set strict priorities based on what you want to accomplish, and then be unyielding in the results. If something doesn't work, adjust. It's not somebody else's fault. It's not somebody else's responsibility. If somebody on your team doesn't accomplish something in exactly the way you wanted it done, it's your fault. Communication is the key. Communication. Show up. Share how it could have been done, and then set the course. Sometimes you have to hold somebody by the hand. That's what the 100 Millionaires is all about. That's what the mentorship is all about. We recognized I could say, hey, here's the book. Here's the training. Go and be successful. But what we discovered, sometimes you have to hold somebody by the hand. Sometimes you have to call them out. Sometimes, like with Kim Rodriguez, we told her to quit her job, which, by the way, we don't tell everybody to do that. It's very rare that we give that advice. But we told her to quit her job, and she still has her job. Hands to the camera, if you know, this is unacceptable. This community is going to show her some love. And we're going to show her love in the form of communication. What's going on? What happened? Why isn't it one of those, what is coming up for you? What's stopping you from doing what you want to do? And it's not easy, by the way. It's not easy to give up things that you feel are extremely, extremely important to you, that are a big part of your life. But sometimes you have to let them go. Ask Cam if you know there's something like that in your life right now, something really, really, it's been a part of your life for a long time and it's still holding on to you. Yeah, sometimes you got to let them go. Own it. It's your responsibility. Nobody else. Nobody else can do that for you. I want you to be decisive. 5, by the way, we're at 5. Decisive. Decisive and steady, regardless of the scenario. Decisive and steady, regardless of the scenario. Number 6, discipline equals freedom. Commitment, discipline equals freedom. And even though I mentioned it as the 7th one, your attitude sets the tone. However you go into everything is how you're going to get it, what you're going to get out of it. You go into it with a mediocre energy, a down energy, your result will be mediocre, down. You go into things with high energy, with gratitude that you already have it, with faith, with belief that you're going to create this, you will create it. Hands to camera if you have faith around your goals. Hands to camera if you're willing to increase your energy this week towards what you're looking to create for yourself. These 7 principles are key to moving yourself forward. These 7 principles can be applied in your life today. I want to drop in the chat, which one speaks to you the most? Of the 7 we just discussed, which one speaks to you the most? And I have my favorite. My favorite is attitude. If you come into any decision, if you come into any business or strategy with a goal to accomplish, like let's just pretend it's become a millionaire. Let's just pretend financially you're setting this goal of $1 million net worth. And you can do it many different ways, but let's say you want to do it through real estate. Let's say you want to do it through acquisition of real estate. And right now you don't have any real estate. Hands to camera if you've ever been there before. You had to start from the beginning, didn't have anything, had to start over. Excellent. So let's assume you start with a job. You have a job and you're working 9 to 5 and you can't stand your job, but you're doing it. And you've been able to save up $1,000. That first $1,000 gets you to the next step, to the next level. You buy the books, you buy the trainings, you go and you connect, you have lunches with mentors, you use that, you leverage that $1,000, get the most out of it. It's your responsibility, right? 100% ownership on your results, 100% ownership on what happens to that $1,000. Now, that same 1,000 could be spent on a vacation. It could be spent on a trip. Hands to camera if you've ever been on one of those trips. $1,000. Shit, I spent $1,000 on one night at a club. So I know 1,000 can go pretty quickly. But that 1,000, when spent properly, early on in life, the earlier you spend it on educating yourself, getting around the right people, connecting with people, that 1,000 is going to move you to be able to take action on the next step, right? Get your realtor, get your marketing campaign, whatever you have to do to find properties, wholesalers, or do the marketing yourself. Sometimes, right, that $1,000 is marketing. Sometimes you spend it on advertising. Sometimes you spend it on mailers or programs like Mojo Dialer to go and do the calls. Hands to camera if you ever dialed, if you ever cold called. Yeah, some of those systems cost money. Building the list costs money. The first $1,000 can go in that direction. The next $10,000, if you're in a market where you can buy a property for $300,000, hands to camera if you're in one of those markets where there are properties for $300,000, even if they're condos. Yes, you're all in a market where you can buy something. Yes, I know, it's suddenly aware. You can own or occupy that property with 3% down. That means you can, with $10,000, buy your first owner occupied piece of real estate, and you can rent out rooms. You can rent out rooms, or if you buy a 3-family in Fall River, like Amy did a few years ago, you can rent out 2 of the floors. Hands to camera if you recognize this is possible. This is just process. You can learn how to earn more. You can learn how to go and save. You can learn how to put that money aside and go and buy something. I was asked the other day how to get the first 10,000. Man, it's such a funny question to me, but I know it's relevant. Hands to camera if you'd be interested to hear that really quickly. Excellent. How would I make a $10,000 if I had to start from nothing? If I didn't have an influence or I didn't have this audience that knew me, I would be very quickly at Home Depot. I swear to God, it would be a simple process. I'd be at Home Depot. I'd stand outside and I'd start asking people what their projects were. I'd ask what they need help with. And I'd find somebody who needed to do either a roof or needed to do fencing or needed to do paint, because those are the three arenas that I know very well that I could personally do. And then I would go and I'd find somebody who wanted help. I'd either work for them really quickly or I'd take on the job myself, and I would include buying all my materials, which is why I pick jobs that don't take a lot of materials, that don't take expensive tools. Hands to camera, if that makes sense. And give me, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, I'd have $10,000 created for myself. Painting rooms for $1,000 each, or doing fencing for $2,000-$3,000. Put me on a roof for $2,000-$3,000. It wouldn't take too many jobs. Hands to camera if you recognize that's true. I'm talking about extra work. This is extra, right? This is stuff that anybody could go and pick up. I remember back when I was broke, we used to take jobs doing roofs, or we take jobs. I'd get my license and I'd go and be a real estate agent. I'd sell real estate. That's a long process. The roof, we'd make money that day. In fact, I got a buddy who did a ton of roofs. Actually, I got 2 buddies who did a ton of roofs, and they would just every week they'd go and they do a roof. They make $500-$600 to be up there for a couple of hours. Every day they were up there $500-$600. Hands camera, if you recognize, there's a lot of jobs out there like that. Man, digging ditches is expensive. If you go try to pay somebody to do it. So 10,000 is easy. Just do something that other people don't want to do. Is this valuable? Is it just get your mind thinking about something else? I would paint, man. I would paint all the houses. Shoot. We had Ron and I had a quote for painting one of our apartments. I think it was $4,000. He and I painted. We were like, shit, we're just going to pay ourselves that $4,000. Let's go paint. And we did. It took us 2 days. Beautiful apartment. I think we paint better than most people, except, we had to physically be there. So there's still opportunity for you out there to get to that next level. I did a chart. If you go to Facebook, I did a chart and I counted from 1 billion all the way down. 25 years to get to $1 billion. If you start, and write this number down because this is really important, because some of you don't have it. Start with $59. $59. It will take 25 years. Hands to camera if you know you got $59. Excellent. Hands to camera if you know you could come up with $59. And you could take that $59 and double it. Yes? We know it's possible. We know you can find a way to go and double that $59. Yes. Well, the process, you just do it again. And you do it again. You take $59, you get it to 119. You go to 238, double it again to 476. This is 4 years, right? Who knows, you could do it a lot faster if you started with, let's say, $1,900. That's 20 years. Or if you started with $1.9 million, that's 10 years. But why is it such a big gap? Why is it such a big gap between 20 years and 10 years? 10x. That's all it is. 10x. Hands to the camera if you know you start somewhere in between that. Doesn't have to take you 20 years to be a billionaire. Doesn't have to take you 20 years to make $1 million. I posted it on Facebook yesterday, and I said, you'll know you're a millionaire when. And man, I got a lot of comments. I got sarcastic comments. I got real comments. I got a lot of crazy people posting stuff. But this one person said, it takes 30 years to become a millionaire. And I was like, I'll read this, but I'm already feeling sick to my stomach. 30 years sounds like a long time to make $1 million. And this is what they said. You put 10% of your income into a stock account, and following an ETF that follows the S&P 500 and a compound interest. And I know Ryan knows this math, right? He has taught this and learned this from people. And over 30 years, the compound interest will get you to $1 million. True. Yeah. 30 years to $1 million. But what if you wanted to make $1 million faster? What if you wanted to make it a little quicker? You'd have to get a better return on investment, something more significant. Hands to camera if you know there are better returns. People are doing more. It's because you're taking a jump. You're owning your goal, and you're owning all the results, and you're owning all of the responsibility to accomplish it. And then you're setting a goal that's a little unrealistic, just a little unrealistic. I'm going to share my screen because I did post the picture on Facebook. And this is the picture I'm talking about. This is $1 billion. And this is the target I set for you right here, $1 million. $1 million. Starting from 29, starting from $29.80. To get to $1 billion, it would take 26 years. But to get to $1 million, it would only take 10, 15, 14. If you start with 26, if you start with 1900 or 3,800, which is what the average person, by the way, the average person has this in their bank account, is about $3,000 to $4,000. You're talking about only a short jump of 10 years if you just double every year. Double every year. Hence the care, if you know you could commit to doubling your income and doubling your net worth every year if you had accountability, if you had people to do it with, if you had a process to follow that would level you up. Hence the care, if you recognize each year it's going to feel more difficult. There'll be less and less people who've done it. As you go along, as you're doubling, there'll be less and less people who've made this accomplishment. That's true. And that's okay. Because what we're doing in this community is gathering you together. We're saying everybody get together. This is what we do. In the mentorship, which you've heard me talk about plenty of times, we have people who've committed to making $1 million. Hence, if you know, it's powerful to be around people who've made a commitment like that. It's a big difference, especially when they own 100% of their results. It's pretty reasonable to say within a few years, they will hit that target. Hence, if you know, in our community, we have people who've passed $1 million, past $1 million, and yet we're all still hanging out. It makes you wonder why. Because we're having fun. We're finding our purpose. We're finding the things that we're supposed to do in life. We're discovering the people we're supposed to be, the impact we're supposed to have, the good things that we have inside of us that we can share with other people. And as we make more money, we discover we have more leverage to go and share more with the world. Hence the camera, if you know you're important, there's something inside of you that you want to share with other people. There's a gift that you have that you think is worthy of multiplying. Write this down if you have a pen and paper in front of you and you find it to be invaluable. Money is a multiplier. Whoever you are, and I want to be very cautious with this, whoever you are, you will get more of. The world will get more of as you expand. And so it's your moral, ethical duty to be your very best person, to be a good, moral person who does things legally, because this is a world of multiplication. Once you start making money, the world is going to get more of you. Now, I've been hanging out with many of you for a long time now, and many of you are graduates in our mentorship program. So hands to the camera if you're a graduate, if you've been through the program and you've graduated and you've seen us continue with you since then. Yes, I love each one of you. I'm love seeing your success. It's fantastic. On the calls early before the 10 o'clock, we all get together and I get to hear more of your successes. I love it. I see you partnering with each other. I see you adding value to each other. This is huge. You don't find this everywhere. A community this tight with people who care about each other. I've talked about the mentorship. Hands the camera if you believe it's a valuable tool, if you're looking to get to the next level. If you know it's something that's worked for other people, excellent. So the mentorship is 8 weeks. The process was built with the goal of $1 million. That was it. It was built with the goal of $1 million. And once you hit that $1 million, now the next goal is $2 million. The first million is a bitch. The second million is inevitable. The second million is inevitable. So stay with us, hang with us. The mentorship is $1,200. It's 8 weeks. You will not be a millionaire at the end of it. Although we have had Ryan McDermott come through and discover that he is a millionaire in the process, which means he already started with a pretty good chunk of money. Hence the camera, if you come through with a good chunk of money, it's possible that you could become a millionaire in the 8 weeks. Yes. But if you're the average person who comes through, then you're starting with less, and that's okay. But we teach you the habits. We teach you the principles and the habits for becoming successful in this, how to stick with it, how to get that accountability. And we surround you with a group of people coming through at the same time to hold you accountable. We deliver the coaches. We have 8 coaches in the program, all of which are extremely successful in their arenas, and they are masters at what they do. We have Dr. Terry Wager, who runs the bullet train of action. We have Doug McGurk, who is the maximizer of mindset, who helps you get to the next level. We've got Ryan McDermott, a financial planner who is very much a real estate investor and entrepreneur. We've got, who else is in here? The Mitches, our Mitches, Mitch Durfee, who is a credit specialist, also a real estate investor, Amazon stores. I think Mitch just dabbles in just about anything that makes money. He'll do it. We've got Mitch Jaworski, who is pretty much in the same light, but way taller and loves crypto. He's the king of crypto. He's got, his portfolio is way bigger than my crypto portfolio, but he also loves real estate. Hands to the camera if you're getting a theme with these coaches. We all seem to love real estate. It's worked really well for us. You got Mike Shine, who is the master of partnerships, teaches people every business Mike does, he does not do alone. Mike is too intelligent to go and do the work himself. Even in his law practice, he does it with a partner. He has another attorney that he's partnered with. Yeah, he raised 5 kids. Well, he got a partner for that too. Hands to the camera if you recognize these are great people to learn from and work with. Absolutely. Absolutely. And their spouses are involved. We got Christine McGinley, who worked at Starbucks as somebody who helped train. And when I say worked at Starbucks, I mean she helped build the training program of one of the greatest training companies on the planet. Starbucks is known for their training, not just their coffees. In the entrepreneurial world, we always put the level of their education at the top, right next to McDonald's, because McDonald's did build a system that anybody can walk through. So that's kind of an impressive model to work with. And then you've got Heidi, who's the queen of relationships. I recently hung out with her this weekend, and Doug and Heidi are just a power couple. Hands to camera if you've ever seen Heidi talk or seen her pictures. Yeah, you've got to go follow her. She's absolutely amazing. If Doug rocks, then Heidi rocks too. Let's give our coaches a round of applause. Absolutely amazing group of people. And the great Dorina, right? Dorina is my spouse, my motivation, my inspiration, and she keeps me moving. Then I got my business partner, Ron Bowling. I want to give them a big special thanks for everything that they do. Let's give them a round, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't get to come out here and do these deep, meaningful moments. By the way, I was out last night. I was talking to Dorina, and I told her, I was like, man, I feel like maybe I'm missing something in life. Maybe I'm missing that feeling of accomplishment. And I don't know why, because I know I'm helping a lot of people. I know I'm having an impact. I know I'm creating change, but inside I don't have the motivation to keep doing it. I'm tired. I'm tired. Like how do you find that motivation to keep making money? How do you find that motivation to keep, helping people when it's so exhausting, right? Has anybody ever felt that way in their business? It's like, I don't know if I want more of this. I was talking to her, and she was able to bring something out of me that I haven't thought about in a long time. And that it was that moment where I think about, if I didn't respond to somebody, I think about if somebody needed that information and I wasn't there to give it, who would do it? Who would do it? If you think about your business right now, if you were not doing what you do, think about your family right now. If you were not showing up, if you weren't doing being yourself, think about your friends, think about your community. Who knows what you're capable of? I didn't think I'd be doing this 10 years ago when I started this path to financial freedom. I didn't think I'd be, impacting hundreds of people's lives. Shit, I didn't even have a Facebook account 10 years ago. But there I was last night, just, sitting, talking to my girlfriend, saying, where does motivation come from? Like, what is that driving force? And I think it's something you have to create for yourself. Each one of us has something different. But inside of you, there's a drive. Inside of you, there's this power, there's this energy, there's this intensity. And if you focus on it and you own it, you have the ability to change the world. And I don't say that lightly. I say that with intention. You have the ability to have a massive impact. It's the butterfly effect. It starts with one person. It starts with you. It starts with you becoming a leader of yourself, leader of your family, leader of your business, owning your results, developing, going through the training, going through the coaches, going through the torture, right? Some of my coaches torture me, and I find it frustrating. Sometimes I wonder, why am I pushing so hard? Then I jump on a call like this and I see each one of you who's also pushing hard, who's grinding, who's putting in the hard work, who believes in themselves, who knows there's much more for you out there in this world, who knows you're capable of much more. And it makes me hungry. It makes me say, man, like, let's go get it. There's something out there for us. This is a game. Life is a game. You're playing the game. And I think you're playing it better than most people because you're learning the rules. Hands to the can if you're committed to playing at 100, owning 100% of your results. Let's give everybody here a round of applause. Cheers to your success. I'm telling you, you've got some big stuff coming. I want to open it up to the coaches because the coaches always have the best information. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, if you haven't signed up for the mentorship, today's the day. Take ownership for your results. Take 100% responsibility for what you're about to create for yourself. You show up, and I guarantee you, we'll take you to the next level. Let's give everybody who signs up today a round of applause. If you're feeling it, man, I'm feeling it too. Let's get it. Let's open it up. Oh, by the way, if you want to, talk to Darina. Darina, you drop that link. If somebody wants to have a conversation or learn about the mentorship, just have a conversation with Darina. She'll take care of you. Let's start with Dr. Terry Wager.